Do you believe you are free? Do you believe your decisions truly belong to you? When you choose a meal in a restaurant, when you fall in love, when you make what feels like an important life decision, do you think it really comes from your own free will? Spinoza, one of the greatest philosophers of the 17th century, said no. He argued that free will is an illusion, that our thoughts, our desires, our choices are all determined by hidden causes we do not see. We believe we decide, but in truth we are guided. Just like a stone flying through the air might imagine it controls its path, when in reality it only follows the force that threw it. To understand Spinoza, we must start with his most radical idea, monism. In his time, most thinkers separated body and soul. The body belonged to the world of matter. The soul or mind belonged to the world of spirit. Spinoza rejected this dualism. For him, there is not a body on one side and a mind on the other. There is only one substance, one universe. Some call it God. Spinoza called it nature. Everything that exists is simply an expression of this one substance, and the human body and the human mind are just two ways of perceiving the same reality. Take a simple example. Cannabis. When you smoke it, your body changes, your heartbeat slows, your muscles relax, and at the same time, your mind changes. Your thoughts shift, your perception alters. It's not that the body influences the mind, or that the mind influences the body. It is one and the same event, seen from two perspectives. This is what Spinoza called parallelism. Body and mind are not two separate entities, but two sides of the same coin. So what becomes of freedom? Spinoza wrote, "Men believe themselves free because they are conscious of their actions, yet ignorant of the causes by which they are determined." In other words, we see what we do, but not why we do it. And this ignorance creates the illusion of free will. Why do you suddenly crave a yogurt instead of a slice of cake? Is that a free choice? Or is it the result of your mood, your digestion, a commercial you saw earlier, or even a childhood memory? Why do you fall in love with this person and not another? Is it truly your decision? Or is it the effect of your history, your hidden desires, your unconscious, and your biology? We believe we choose. But in reality, we are moved. For Spinoza, man is no freer than a stone thrown through the air. The stone thinks it flies of its own accord. But in truth, it only follows the trajectory imposed by the force that launched it. If our choices are not really ours, are we still responsible? In the Christian tradition, free will was seen as a divine gift. Man chooses between good and evil, and he is judged for his choices. Spinoza turned this upside down. We do not choose our passions. We do not choose our desires. We do not choose what attracts us or repels us. So how can we be responsible? Spinoza's answer is subtle. We are not responsible because we freely choose. We are responsible because we are capable of understanding what determines us. Responsibility, then, does not come from the illusion of free will. It comes from knowledge. Our greatest mistake, according to Spinoza, is blindness to causality. We act, but we do not see the hidden chains of causes. We believe we decide, but in truth, we only follow the flow of necessity. A man in anger thinks he chose to lash out. In reality, he is enslaved to a passion born from an external cause, a hurtful word, a frustrated desire, an old memory. We say, "I decided this for myself," but in truth, invisible forces decided for us. This is why Spinoza's ethics is not about blame or guilt. It is about understanding the causes behind human actions. If everything is determined, Does that mean freedom is impossible? Not at all. True freedom for Spinoza is not escaping the laws of nature. It is understanding them. A man enslaved to anger believes he is free, but in fact, he is a prisoner of passion. The one who understands this passion, however, can begin to transform it. Freedom, then, is not doing whatever we want. It is knowing why we want what we want. This is rational freedom, freedom linked to reason. Here, Spinoza is close to the Stoics, to accept external constraints, to recognize what lies beyond our control, and to find peace in necessity. So is free will an illusion? Yes. We do not choose our passions. We do not choose our desires. We do not choose what determines us. We are no freer than the stone thrown into the air. But we can find freedom in another way, by using reason, by recognizing our chains, by accepting necessity. For Spinoza, freedom is not a magical gift. It is a rational conquest. It is inner peace. It is saying yes to the world, not by pretending to control it, but by understanding why it must be the way it is. Free will is an illusion, but reason is liberation. And yet this raises a final question. If everything is determined, if even our reasoning is the product of causes, then why value reason at all? For Spinoza, the answer lies in the difference between passive and active life. When we are driven by passions, by anger, envy, fear, or blind desire, we are passive. We are like leaves blown by the wind, moved but not moving ourselves. But when we use reason to understand what determines us, we become active. We stop being victims of external forces, and instead, we align ourselves with necessity. This is not freedom in the sense of doing whatever I want. It is freedom in the sense of no longer being at war with reality. The joy of understanding Spinoza believed that the highest human joy is the joy of understanding. When we grasp why things happen, when we see how events are connected, when we understand our own emotions, we feel a kind of peace. This is why Spinoza called his great book not theology or metaphysics, but ethics. For him, philosophy was not abstract speculation. It was a guide to living well. To live well is to live with clarity, to understand what we can control and what lies beyond us, to transform blind passions into conscious actions, God or nature. This clarity also transforms how we see the world itself. Remember, for Spinoza, everything is part of the one substance, God, or nature. This means nothing is outside of nature. There is no supernatural miracle, no divine punishment, no chaos. There is only necessity. But far from being bleak, Spinoza saw this as profoundly beautiful. Every event, no matter how small, is an expression of the infinite order of the universe. When we see the world this way, even suffering and loss are not meaningless accidents. They are part of the whole. And when we grasp this whole, we feel what Spinoza called the intellectual love of God, a serene acceptance, a harmony between our mind and the order of nature, a philosophy of resilience. This is why Spinoza's thought is not about despair, but resilience. He tells us, yes, you are determined. Yes, you are shaped by causes you do not control. But within this necessity, you can find strength. You cannot choose the winds that blow against you, but you can understand them. And by understanding, you can adjust your sails. This is true freedom, not commanding the universe, but navigating within it with wisdom. Why Spinoza matters today. In a world of algorithms, addictions, and unconscious influences, Spinoza is more relevant than ever. We are surrounded by hidden causes, marketing campaigns, social media feeds, political propaganda. They shape what we desire, what we fear, what we believe. Spinoza reminds us that freedom is not pretending we are untouched by these forces. It is becoming conscious of them. It is asking, why do I want this? Where does this thought come from? Every time we reflect, every time we trace back the chain of causes, we weaken the illusion of free will and strengthen true freedom. The last word. Spinoza lived quietly, almost anonymously, and died young at 44. And yet his philosophy shook the foundations of religion, politics, and psychology. Goethe, Einstein, and countless others would later call him one of the greatest minds of all time. His message is still radical today. You are not free in the way you imagine, but you can find a deeper freedom in knowledge and acceptance in reason. Free will is an illusion, but understanding is power, and through this power we can find peace.